folks there. We are here at Sacramento City College, and we have the great honor this afternoon of having Dr. Harris, who is the president of Sacramento City College, to meet with us. He and I are interested in promoting diversity in the curriculum of Sacramento City College, and as you know, I have an interest in trying to promote the knowledge of high culture people who are from the ethnic minorities in the Sacramento City College. My area of specialty is high culture African and Middle Eastern people. With respect to this, I've asked Dr. Harris to meet with us and to consider the possibility of having more information in the curriculum that would bring to the attention of the American public and ourselves our high cultural origins. Let me fill in just a word on this. Now, like for instance, one of the major problems that as a student of the curriculum that I find in the States is that the treatment that comes, like, say, on the African descent population and the Middle Eastern descent population is like, excuse me for saying so, like low. It's not high. It does not reflect a high historical background. For instance, we get the opinion that, say, like the black Americans' history has begun like with slavery. We get the projection that in Africa there's like a low culture situation. Africans run around naked or bushmen or something like this, you see what I mean? And this is the background. So much for Africa. The most we know about Africa comes from Tarzan, you see what I mean? Okay, now, with the Middle Eastern people going like into the Arabia, we get the picture that everybody's running around on camels, has been, still is now, and there's no depicting there the high cultural contributions that the Arabic people have made, you see, to culture and to history. And I'm claiming now that this should be presented in the curriculum here to let us know what's going on. Similarly for Africa, there's a high cultural background which we'd like to get going on. Now, as for my own efforts here, you know I'm an instructor of political science and social science 56. In addition to this, I've been the head of an international study on recruitment for African-like businessmen and industrialists and educators for what they call their manpower needs to staff their industries. You see, this has been going on for a number of years. I already have programs set up like this with other institutions, and we're attempting to set up one here. Now, with respect to this, I'd like to give an idea of some of the type of people who would be interested in this now and in the past. Just quickly, I gave you a little handout here. Would you look at the front here, and this gives give an idea of the type of people that are interested in this and our historical background. You have on the front page here His Highness Sheikh Saad al-Abdullah al-Sabah, the Crown Prince Prime Minister of Kuwait. I'd like to submit that Kuwait and its continuing violence is the major thing that is the United States is concerned with internationally at this time. And then moving from there to the rest of the Arabic nations. Now, for instance, I want to have to call shots like they are. I want you to take a good look at Mr. al-Sabah. Now, this in the United States would be classified as a black man. Am I right? Yes or no? Okay. Now, I think that if there are black men in this world who are in a position to be like the head of the #1 issue that's facing the United States, and they're letting out these contracts of hundreds of billions of dollars, see, to be serviced mainly by the American corporations, that people who are in the United States who are like of African and Middle Eastern descent should have this brought to them through the school curriculum, historically, culturally, and now in terms of modern business, so they can get prepared through this system to participate in these big contracts. Okay, now there for one. You go like into Saudi Arabia. I go to these countries every year. Saudi, you find like a society where you got like the blacks and the Arabs high there, and they are in a position to do big things for us. I think that there's not information enough on high society/cultural background within the American school system. I went like last year like to West Africa for the first time. In West Africa, you have like there the evidences that the culture has come from the Arabia, the Egypt, and all across Africa. Like for instance, in what they call like their obas. These are like they're big princes. They're big princes, big kings. The biggest people like in Nigeria now, who are heads of government, they all have Al-Hajj by their name. This means they have made like the pilgrimage to Mecca. See, so you see Islam goes all across Africa. You see West Africa, North Africa, and we find big people there who are of African descent. Coming up into Egypt, at a previous time, moving from there years ago, I was in Ethiopia. We had the privilege of having a number of people here from Ethiopia. At that time, I had just got my master's degree from UC Berkeley as an economist. I did my economic research on Ethiopia and the Nile Valley as an outlet for American business enterprise and cultural expansion, one what they call Rosenwald Fellowship, which is like Sears Roebuck's Fellowship. Went to Ethiopia, became like personal advisor to Emperor Haile Selassie, who was then the Emperor of Ethiopia. We have here, for instance, the Queen of Ethiopia at that time. You see, an article that I wrote there at that time, The Case for Emperor Haile Selassie by Robert Kennan. Then we have here now Emperor Haile Selassie. Now, Emperor Haile Selassie at that time was the richest man in the world. See, African descent. At this time, probably the richest man in the world is His Highness Al Sabah. We need these sort of people to be aware of what they're trying to do here and to have information on them, on their programs. The next article is called Political Strategy for Ethiopians by Robert Kennan, M.A. I wasn't much older than you were at that time. There were a group of black Americans there that Emperor Haile Selassie had in his advisors, as well as from all over the world. He gave us big positions, big properties, big chances to help industrialize the country. At that time, they were asking me about what I thought about how to get the United States interested. I said the main thing about the United States happens to be that it's run by big business, big money. You get the big money of the United States behind you, and they'll tell the politicians what to do. The question at this article was, should Ethiopia have Eritrea? They followed that along with others' advice. They got Eritrea. Okay? We're trying to get this now. At a later time, in '75, I was in the Nile Valley doing an economic survey of Egypt. Talked with President Sadat of Egypt at that time. He was now like of African ancestry, black African ancestry. The question was then, how can I get the United States more interested in what I'm doing? How can we get the black Americans more interested in what we're doing? I was suggesting at that time, along with others, that they contact the Black Caucus at Washington, D.C. Besides, then at a later time, they contacted the Black Caucus at Washington, D.C., and were able to get their support for problems going on in Egypt. Now, my current thing on the last article here is called like Black Success Series. I'll have a book out here shortly on how to guarantee African and Middle Eastern students